It is 10:58 on Thursday, June 11th. So I worked this morning and then I procrastinated for like 5 billion years, and it's now almost 11 o'clock. And um yesterday I tried to do the entire math assignment in one day, but then I got stuck on number 13 and then I could not get the answer, and then I just stopped. So now I have to do, I mean, number 14. Um, so wait a minute, hold on a second. I better have sent him the right one, because what if I accidentally said no, I did say 14. Anyways, so after that yesterday, I sent a message to my instructor asking for help on that question, and luckily he responded and gave me the solution. Uh, so hopefully I'll be able to figure that out. Um, because I'm not just gonna enter in the answer without doing. I'm actually gonna look at it and try to figure out what I did wrong. But so, anyways, yeah, I just gotta finish. I just gotta finish the assignment. And really, it's not gonna be that difficult to finish, because, it's just two questions from a section I already read, and then I have to read one more section and then answer 5 more questions. So hopefully that'll only take a few hours today, and then I can do other things later. Well, I kind of already explained everything, so yeah, that's his explanation of number 14. So I'm gonna look through that and try to figure out if I, my mistake was and all that stuff, and then I'll also do number 15, and it's currently 11 o'clock, and I'll let you know when I finish that. It is now 12:01. And I still don't know how to do number 14. Basically, the instructor told me things, and these two equations I came up with here, they're correct. They're correct according to my instructor. But then there's a leap in logic in his email. He says, he gets these two equations right here, which are, when you do a little bit of algebra, they're the same as these two, right? These two right here, they're the same. They're exactly the same. But then he says, by solving both equations, you get x equals y. Well, yeah, I agree with that too. But then, so x equals y equals 1. Yes, of course it does, because it just does. Why? Where'd you get the fact that x equals y equals 1? That is not what happens when you solve those two equations. When you solve those two equations, you get x equals 25 to the 1/6, which is 1.7 blah blah blah. So I have no clue what is up with this question. Why are we getting decimal answers for the answer? Well, I'm getting the decimal answer. He randomly was just like, okay, it equals 1. He did not explain why, and I don't even agree. I don't think it does equal 1. When you solve these two equations, I literally plugged them into my calculator to make sure, and yes, it does equal 1.7 blah blah blah. It is exactly equal to 25 to the 1/6. So, come on, what is up with this question? I'm done with this question, because he gave me the answer in the email, so I just typed the answer into the assignment. Maybe he'll respond. I typed a response letting him know that the answer is actually 25 to the 1/6 for x and y. At least when we do those equations like that. So hopefully he'll respond. Maybe he can somehow explain to me how x and y equal 1. But I'm done with this question. That took I worked on that question for 4 hours. I don't know, maybe 3 hours or 2 hours. I wasn't keeping track, and why do I need to keep track? Why should it take that long to answer a question? It's now 12:04. Okay, it is now 1:14, and I'm in a much better mood after doing the question number 15, because that was a very complicated question, but I was able to figure out how to do it, and it feels really, really good to figure out a really complicated question like that. So, I kind of just want to show you what I did to solve this question. So, the question is, a home improvement contractor is painting the walls and ceiling of a rectangular room. The volume of the room is 1,188 cubic feet. The cost of wall paint is 8 cents per square foot, and the cost of ceiling paint is 11 cents per square foot. Find the room dimensions that result in a minimum cost for the paint. So, here's what you do for this question. So, yeah, sorry, it took a while to focus. But yeah, so the volume is X, Y, Z. So actually, at first I'll show you the picture. It's hard to show you, but here, I'll turn on the lights to make it better. So, we have that's the room right there, and you can label it as X, Y, and Z. So the volume is X times Y times Z, which is 1,188. Now you have to come up with an equation for the cost. So the cost is, well, it's 8 cents for the walls, 8 cents per square foot for the wall. So, but what is 1 square foot? Or what is the first of all, what is the area of the walls? Well, the area of the walls is you basically, well, the easy way to do it is to just take the top part, take the circumference of the top part, and then multiply it by the height. So you do y plus x, which is the same as 2y plus 2x, and you multiply it by z, which is the height. So you got 2y plus 2x equals, or multiplied by z. So that's the cost for the walls, and then the cost for the ceiling is, well, the ceiling is just xy, and then the cost is 11 cents. So it's 11.11 times xy. So that's the cost right there. Then you do some algebra. Oh yeah, and then you notice, oh, we have two equations. So we can turn this thing into an equation that only has x and y's in it, because we have x, y, z's, and z. When you do algebra, you find z equals 1188 divided by xy. So then you plug in that for z, and then you do algebra, and you come up with the equation for the cost, which is that 190.08 x negative 1 plus 190.08 y negative 1 plus 0.11 xy. So that's the cost. That's the cost in terms of x and y. Now, how do you find out what the minimum cost is? Well, here's where the calculus starts. So what you do is you take the partial derivatives and you set them to 0. So that's what I did for those two parts right there. And then now, what do you know? You have two equations, and you can solve those two equations for x and y. So then you do a ton of algebra, and you find out what x and y equal. And long story short, x equals 12, y equals 12. And then you plug those into the original x, y, z equals 1,188, and you find that z equals 33 divided by 4. So that's the dimensions of the room. So that means that's the dimensions of the room that results in the lowest possible cost. And then once you have all that, you see your original equation you came up with for cost, which is up here. Where is it? Oh yeah, I just used that one. You can use whatever one you wanted, but basically you just plug x and y in, and you obtain the minimum cost, which is $47.52. So anyways, that was really, really satisfying to solve that question for some reason. So yeah, I guess I'm feeling a little bit better now. 14, I've been trying to figure that out still a little bit, but still I'm convinced that, I don't know, is the textbook wrong, or am I still making some kind of mistake, or maybe the instructor made a mistake. But yeah, I'm still convinced that, so like number 14, basically we're trying to find x, y, and z, and I'm still convinced that x and y are both equal to 25 to the power of 1/6, not 1, as the answer indicates there. So I sent, yeah, as I told you before, I sent a message to my instructor about that. Hopefully he responds. So yeah, I'm gonna take a little break here, and I'll get back to you afterwards. It is now 3:39. Whoops. Yeah, I got kind of distracted with a bunch of other stuff, but I will now try to finish the assignment. Also, my instructor sent me another response to help clarify the question even more. However, I really do not feel like looking at that, so because I've worked on that question enough, and I really don't feel like dealing with it anymore. So I don't know. I really don't. I mean, I guess I'll look at it, but like, fine, whatever. Still, I don't really understand the question. He said you just prove x equals y, and then after that you're like, okay, so what numbers can I plug in that will satisfy these conditions? Oh, let's see. Oh, 1, 1, and 5. Wow. How are you supposed to? You can't. That's not how you. I don't know. Whatever. If that's on the midterm or something like that's on the midterm, then I'll actually. I don't know. How? I just don't understand. Like, you're just supposed to like try to come up with numbers like on, like, no way, you can't really just come up with it mathematically. You have to just kind of think of the numbers. All you know is that x equals y, but I don't know. So so we'll finally get to the next thing, which is something to do with use Lagrange multipliers to find the indicated extrema, assuming that x and y are positive. So I will read the section. I really hope it's probably gonna be complicated, just like all the other stuff. Oh yeah, and I finally have my thing I need to access the course, my other course, which is the computer class. Like, the class started like a week and a half ago, and I haven't been able to do any of the work for the class until I got this thing. And I didn't. I was like, why would I need a textbook for a class where we just learn how to use Microsoft Office Word, Microsoft Office? But of course we need a textbook, and of course it costs like $1 billion kajillion to buy the textbook. And I don't even need the textbook. I just need the code. Why would you give me an entire textbook if it's just all I need is the code? So yeah, I had to pay $1 million. Oh yeah, not to mention I had to pay another $1 million to get access to this math stuff, because it was just like a trial access thing, and then after that you had to pay $100 to access it. So I just keep like pouring money into these classes. It's like, costs so much more than. It's like, well, I can't like save up and buy anything, because I have to like just use all the money I have to pay for college. My college just costs like so much more than most other things that you would normally pay for. Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, it kind of depends on the college you go to. Like, some colleges may cost like, well, the community colleges I've been going to, they cost $4,000 in tuition per year. That's like the estimate of, but like each class is like $600 to $800. Well, each credit is like a certain amount, and like a 3-credit class is like $600, and a 4-credit class is like $800. So I guess each credit is like $200, but it's like, Seriously, $200? Like, I had to pay $800 just to take this math class when I could easily just learn all that stuff for free online. So, I mean, I don't know. So, enough rambling about all the money I've been paying recently for college. Let's actually start reading. Section 13.10 is 348. It is now 4 o'clock. So I kind of just skimmed over this section. I'll just have to refer to it while I'm doing the problems, but I get like kind of the general idea of what I'm supposed to do here. So now I will attempt to solve the last 5 questions. So basically, let's see. There's only one tutorial question, but that's fine. So I'll do the tutorial question first, and then hopefully I will be able to do number 16, and then I should be able to also do number 18. And then this one it says there's 2 constraints, and there might be a different way to do it with 2 constraints, so I'll have to look in the textbook to do that one. And then this one seems like it's kind of like an application or like optimization problem or whatever it's called, so I'll also have to look in the book for that one probably. But other than that, hopefully I can just get through these. I'm assuming, I'm looking at the example in the book, I'm guessing this one might take a while, so I really hope I can finish at least before 6. That gives me 2 hours to do it, so yeah, I'll do that. It is now 6:18 and I've only finished 16 through 18. 16 and 17 were extremely easy, and then 18 took like 5 billion years. But I actually got the answer. Somehow. I somehow got that. So basically what I was having trouble with was, how do you solve this system of equations? And I was doing a bunch of random stuff. I was like, oh well, why don't you just try to isolate the y or the x in one of these 2 things, but like there's like exponents and stuff, so you can't. But then it turns out all along all you had to do was move the x and the y to the other side for both equations, and then, oh, what do you know, they both equal to lambda, and then you set them equal to each other. So I did that, and it turns out x squared equals y squared. But that doesn't necessarily mean well, it does mean x equals y, but like, it's like you have x squared, well, I don't know if it's from there. It's something to do with the fact that there's a squared means that when you do a square root of both sides, you also have the negative square root of both sides. So something something blah blah blah, and then you end up with they both equal 1 over root 2, but then they have different signs. So yeah, there's a lot more work that goes into it, but I just kind of like looked at the answer for a different question and kind of like figured out that, oh, it's just 1 over root 2, but you change all the signs for every single one. Now what I really should do is actually figure out why you're supposed to change the signs for every single one, but I don't feel like it because I already know that that's the thing you're supposed to do. And then when you plug it in, it's just e to the negative 1/8 or e to the 1/8, and that's the answer. That took like 10 bill. Okay, I already said. How long did that take? That took like an hour and a half to do one problem. Dude, I was on the verge of giving up because I had no clue how I was supposed to. Basically, I was stuck on, I'm trying to, like, I got to this right here, like, I got to this equation where you have just x in it, but you can't isolate the x because you have x like as an exponent, pretty much, like ln x, and then the other side is x. long story short, that doesn't work. But then I finally figured out the other thing. And as you can tell, it's extremely late. And usually I stop at 6 and take my pills. But today is different because me and my dad have to go pick up my van. And the only time we can ever do it is when Dad's off of work, and he's always off of work late. So I may as well just stay up late to do that. So, long story short, I am going to still continue to try to finish this assignment today. Even though I've worked on it for so many hours and gotten stuck on so much stuff. Oh my gosh, this assignment is just like so much more difficult than the other assignments, I guess. It's the best way to put it. It's just I keep getting stuck on different questions and I have no clue how to solve it, and then I'm stuck sitting for like an hour trying to figure out what to do. And then of course for number 14, I was literally not able to figure it out, so I had to ask my instructor. And then 18, I actually did figure it out, but I mean, it was kind of the way I did it wasn't really the way you're supposed to do it. Like, I was supposed to actually figure it out on my own, but I kind of looked at the answer for a different question and then just kind of did leaps in logic and still ended up with the right answer. So now I will attempt to do, I don't even know what's going to happen for 19 and 20. Like, what the heck? Maybe 19 will be easy because it's just 3 variables. It's like a simple question, but with 3 variables. So I'm guessing, I'm going to predict 19's easy. But then 20, we have a kind of like an application problem. It should be, actually no, this should be easy because it's just easy, you know, x squared plus y squared, blah, 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 blah. It's just that you have to, it's an application question, but I'm pretty sure these last 2 are going to be easy. We'll see if that prediction is correct. So it's 6:24, and I'll let you know when I'm done. I don't know if I'll finish in time before we have to leave to go get my dad's van, well, technically it's my dad's van, but I'm the one who drives it. Anyways, it's 6:24, and I will let you know. It is 6:41, and I'm done. Okay, that assignment took so long. It was so difficult, and nothing else. Stop saying and. Gosh dang, that took forever. It took 2 whole days, basically. I mean, today I kind of dawdled a lot because I knew I didn't have as much work to do, but still, basically it took 2 whole days to do that assignment. Twice as long as the last assignment. So the next assignment is actually just the midterm exam, but it's going to be really easy because the midterm exam is, well, you don't have to do it all at once. You don't have like a time limit. I don't think you don't have a time limit, and the instructor said it's easier than the assignments, and you get only 2 tries for each question, but that he said it's going to be easier than the assignments, so hopefully it's not too bad. So it's just going to be probably taking a bunch of the easier questions from the assignments, and then, well, at least I'm hoping it is. It's just, I don't know how many questions it's going to be. Maybe it's 20 questions. It could be, I'm just going to assume it's 20 questions for now. So basically just 20 questions, and it's going to be taken from over the course of those 3 assignments. And so, but the point, at least we got assignment 3 done. We got all 20 questions correct. So basically, I guess you could say that I came up with all the answers myself, but that's not entirely true because I kind of heavily relied on the answer key for some of the questions. Now, the answer key doesn't exactly give out free answers because the numbers in the questions are different than the answer key, but the answer key kind of just gives you like an idea of what you're supposed to do, or kind of an idea of the answer for the question. So it kind of feels a little bit like cheating, but because it kind of feels like I did cheat on number 18 because like I didn't actually do all of the work for the question that I was supposed to do, sort of. Like I got the 1 over root 2 all by myself pretty much, but then after that, to get to prove the fact that you also have the negative 1 over root 2, and then, you know, x, so like both the x and the y are positive, and then both of them are negative, and then one or the other is positive or negative. Basically, the fact that you have that, you have to do a bunch more work to figure that out, but I kind of just implied that that was correct because of how the answer key had the answer. So for a different question, which was completely unrelated, but it was similar in a couple of ways. So I kind of feel like I cheated on number 18, but oh well. We have access to the answer key, and and you know, whatever, it is what it is. I wasn't going to sit there for 5 billion more years trying to figure out the question. I've already sat there for an hour and a half trying to figure out, so I wasn't going to do even more stuff for that question. I was done with that question. And then the other question I feel like I cheated on is the one where the instructor helped me with the question, because I still don't really understand how to solve the question, because, like, I don't know, I kind of explained it already, but I still don't really know how to solve that question. But I just entered in the answer that the instructor gave, and he provided an explanation of how you're supposed to do it, but I still don't understand the explanation. It doesn't really make any sense to me. He basically just said, like, okay, so you know that x equals y, now just use that fact, and now try to plug in a bunch of random numbers in until you figure out the number. But that doesn't seem like a good way to solve the problem. Like, you're supposed to just come up with the fact that you could plug in 1, 1, and 5. Like, oh, 1, 1, and 5 works. Well, can't you just come up with that using a process other than just trying to guess random numbers? Like, that's what the instructor seemed to do in this explanation. But anyways, long story short, I feel like I kind of cheated on number 14 and number 18. But pretty much all the other ones, I kind of pretty much, for the most part, did all the work for it, and I kind of understand how to do it. So now the funny thing is, like, the midterm, it's so weird because, well, like, yeah, because the midterm, it's not really like a midterm, it's just like an easier version of the assignments, according to our instructor. So it's kind of weird, but okay, I'll take it. I mean, as long as I'm kind of getting the basic idea of how to do stuff, it doesn't really matter too much anyways, because I don't even know if I'm going to be using Calc 3 in my future career. I'm just trying to pass the class as it's laid out for me. And I'm doing a lot of Calc 3 stuff. Like, I'm learning a lot of things here, but why am I continuing to go on and on? So that's it. Goodbye.